am I being investigated for a student who left my class and was found 3 states away with a 26-year-old man? I have been teaching high school English for 14 years. I love my job. I love watching students discover books that change how they see the world. I love the moment when a struggling kid finally understands something they've been working on for weeks. I have taught over 2,000 students, and I have never once had a complaint filed against me. Not one parent meeting that ended badly. Not one disciplinary issue. I say this because of what happened last October and what people are now saying about me. There was a girl in my 3rd period class named B. She was 16 years old and sat in the back row near the window. She was quiet and didn't participate much, but she turned in her work on time and seemed to do fine on tests. I didn't know much about her personal life because she never shared anything in class discussions. Some students are like that, and I learned a long time ago not to push. In early October, B started acting different. She seemed distracted during lectures. She would stare at her phone under the desk even though phones weren't allowed. She stopped turning in homework. Her test scores dropped. I pulled her aside after class one day and asked if everything was okay. She said she was fine and just tired. I told her my door was always open if she needed to talk. She nodded and left without saying anything else. 2 weeks later, on a Tuesday afternoon, B raised her hand in the middle of class. She asked if she could use the restroom. I said yes. She grabbed her backpack, which was unusual because students normally leave their things at their desks. I noticed but didn't say anything because sometimes girls need to bring their bags to the bathroom. She walked out of my classroom at exactly 2:15 in the afternoon. She never came back. When the bell rang 40 minutes later and B's seat was still empty, I reported it to the front office. They said they would look into it. By the end of the school day, her parents had been called. By that evening, the police were involved. B was officially missing. The next 3 days were chaos. Police interviewed students. They interviewed teachers. They interviewed me 4 separate times. They wanted to know exactly what B said before she left. They wanted to know if I noticed anything strange about her behavior. They wanted to know why I let her take her backpack to the bathroom. Her parents came to the school on the 2nd day. Her mother walked straight up to me in the hallway and started screaming. She said I let her daughter walk out of my class and did nothing. She said I should have known something was wrong. She said a real teacher would have stopped her. She said this was my fault, and she would make sure everyone knew it. Her father stood behind her nodding and saying I should lose my job. The principal pulled them away, but the damage was done. Other teachers heard, students heard. Word spread through the school that B's parents blamed me for her disappearance. The local news ran a story that week. They didn't use my name, but they said a teacher was under investigation for negligence. They said a student vanished from a classroom and no one noticed for 40 minutes. They made it sound like I just let a child walk into danger without caring. My own students started looking at me differently. Parents requested transfers out of my class. I received emails from strangers calling me horrible things. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I kept replaying that moment in my head, wondering if I should have done something different. Then 6 days after B disappeared, the police found her. She was in a motel in another state with a 26-year-old man named Doug. He worked at a car wash near her house. They had been talking online for 8 months. He had been picking her up from school on days she told her parents she had club meetings. She had been planning to run away with him for weeks. She packed that backpack the night before. She knew exactly what she was doing when she asked to use the bathroom. She chose my class because it was right before the end of the day, and she knew she could get a head start before anyone noticed. The police brought her home. Doug was arrested. B admitted everything to investigators. She said no teacher could have stopped her because she had been planning this for months. She said she chose to leave, and it had nothing to do with me or anyone else at school. I thought that would be the end of it. I thought once the truth came out, people would apologize and move on. I was wrong. B's parents held a meeting with the school board. They demanded I be fired for letting their daughter leave the classroom. They said I should have recognized the signs. They said I should have refused to let her take her backpack. They said a competent teacher would have prevented this. They never once mentioned Doug. They never once mentioned that their daughter had been sneaking around with a grown man for almost a year while living under their roof. They never once mentioned that they had no idea who their own daughter was talking to online every single night. They blamed me because blaming me was easier than admitting they missed everything. The school board launched a formal investigation. Full story on channel. Link below.